Father God, I just want to just touch every single person that is listening to this right now and just really hit home, Father God. Have your way in them and help them hear what they need to hear, Father God, not for our own glory, but solely for the glory to go to you, Lord.
Lonely.
Welcome to the sixth official episode of Mental Check. The guy I have on the episode today, he's been a friend literally since we were like 4 years old. Literally the story of how we became friends, like we were on the playground in kindergarten, and he came up to me and he's like, "Yo, what's your name?" And I was like, "Brian." And I was like, "What's your name?" He's like, "Jared." And he's like, "Want to be best friends?" I was like, "Yeah." And here we are ever since, man. So without further ado, my best friends, Jared Symmank.
Yes, sir.
Jared, how you doing, man?
Good, dude.
Hey, man, I appreciate you coming out and taking the time.
Of course.
Every time I try to come in town, we try to link up and do dinner or something. So it's be cool to change it up. Have a
Yeah,
little
for
bit of
sure,
lights,
for sure.
a
I'm
little bit.
excited for all that you have going and looking forward to it and all the lives you're going to touch, bro.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. You got to touch some today because I know you got a lot to say. So I guess I know who you are, but if you could just go into kind of your upbringing, like what made Jared Symmank who he is today, starting from little and going to now.
So to start off with, I'd probably say the foundation of who I am and the reason why I grew up to be who I am is simply because of my faith. My parents and honestly my whole entire family, we have I'd say a very unique family because I see and I talk to a lot of people nowadays, and not only their family but their extended family is not very close. Our family still gets together a lot for the holidays, so I feel like I have a very large family and that everyone's very tight knit, very close. And again, we're just all a family of faith, and I think that really kept me accountable as a young kid, especially being the youngest boy in my family and my extended family. I had a lot of eyes to help me stay on track and to keep me on the path I needed to be on. So anytime I'd waver or do something wrong, I was put in check pretty quick. I was definitely also very humbled a lot of times because I was the youngest. So I'm always looking up to my older siblings, my older cousins, and seeing everything they achieved and was able to do. And I never thought, and I could never think too much of myself because they were always that step ahead, a step further. So it was always kind of a drive for me. It made me very critical of myself because I knew who I wanted to be and where I wanted to get to. And seeing all that they had achieved, I was like, okay, I always got to keep my head above water, make sure I'm doing the right things. And again, they just always helped me stay accountable for that. And then on top of all that, I had just incredible parents. And as I was growing up, I would probably definitely say if you were interviewing me as a 5, or a 10-year-old, I would definitely say I had the strictest parents in the world. I was always grounded. You probably can attest to this too.
And I could never come outside. Go ahead.
Never. I could never go outside. And again, like as a kid, that was rough. I was always grounded. I remember vividly in 5th grade, I wanted to stay at school all day. I wanted to sleep at the school because I knew as soon as I got home, I was not allowed to do anything. So I was just like, just let me stay here. So yeah, they were very strict and they kept steady guidelines. And as I've grown up, I've learned to really appreciate that and honestly love that and take a lot of those things and thinking down the road when I want to start my own family, try to take the similar things that they instilled in me. Just when you set yourself at a high standard like they did for me and my siblings, it really, really affects you and it makes you think a certain way. And having duties, having chores, and honestly, the grounding. It lets you know here's the standard. If you can't meet it, it's only gonna help you down the road.
Yeah.
So that was huge for me. I know some people don't like strict parents, but I would say seeing and coming out through it all, it's definitely helped me make wise decisions on my own. And again, I can't forget about also, I talked a lot about the boys, but my little sister, she was huge, a huge impact on me as I grew up, the closer we got. And even though that she's smaller than me, or younger than me, I should say, um, she's been a huge impact on my life as well. Just being able to see not only the guy side, but also how girls think as well. And just, I think as men, a lot of times we're very prideful. And she helped me see, okay, even though she's younger than me, I can still learn from her. And she's done things that and achieved some things that are very powerful. And just the way that she has with words, she has her own diaries that she has written and posted online, and just the thought process and what God's given to her and the words that she has to give to the world is very powerful. So just I've been surrounded honestly by a bunch of just wonderful people, and I could just say I remember this one time I just kind of woke up one day and I was like, God could have literally allowed me to be born in any family, and I was able to be born in the family that I am. I didn't do anything to earn it, deserve it, nothing. But I believe I was born into one of the best families, and because of them, I would say I'm the man I am today.
That's awesome. I do have a couple of questions about what you said, because I think it's kind of cool to kind of see, like, how your mind worked back then and how it works right now. So one of the things is you talking about having strict parents, like you said,
Yeah.
like during the time, like it was hard, like, but now I see that and I kind of want to be with that with my own family and everything.
Yeah.
Can you talk about like kind of the benefits of that and how you like being in this mindset now, like why that appreciation is so strong now?
Man, I would just say that just again, just as you go through the process, and as I was so frustrated to begin with the chores, and then later on, even in high school, I had a curfew on myself, things like that. I was frustrated, but now I see again the benefits. What they're trying to teach me was I need to have guidelines set for myself, and if I can learn to see the benefits of them, because I have my decisions, and they normally always gave me things not as like a consequence, but if they saw me go one direction and go the wrong path, then they would set the guideline to say, okay, here's where I need you to be at. And then they never just enforced it. It's when I went wayward, they're like, okay, here's the standard that you need to be at, and let's stay here. So it kind of restructured my mind to see, okay, when I went my own way, okay, that was wrong. My parents said, this is where you need to be. Let's be here. So now I kind of have that similar mindset now. It's just, okay, am I going wrong? Am I going the wrong path? Okay, where's my standard where I need to be? Now let's stay there.
Okay.
So I think that's the big aspect that I really appreciate, and that I can see now, just like as I'm walking down this road of life, am I going the right way, the wrong way? If I'm going the wrong way, let's correct it, because my standard is to stay on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, man. No, that's good, and I mean, that's a great explanation. I think about the benefits of just having the direction. I also
Correct.
like how you talked about like not necessarily just enforcing it, but it's like you tried to go off, and then it's like, now this is kind of where we want you to be, like for your own goodness. So I think that's really cool. The other question I had for you, and this is kind of pivoting a little bit, but you
Yeah.
said you're talking about your little sister, Gabby, and you said men were inherently prideful.
Mm.
Why do you think that is?
I think it is, truthfully, I think it is a place of insecurity,
Okay.
due to the fact of men, and I think this just goes back to biblical times. We have a sense of we need to be the man, we need to be the center as far as leading and leadership and authority. So we have this authority and this just already built into us mindset of, okay, my idea needs to be the pinnacle, the top. And we need to be leading and we need to be doing the right thing. And in a way, we think we're correct because we need to be correct because we just have that built upon us and built in us. So I think sometimes we wrestle within ourselves and don't realize it is okay not to be prideful because when we're not prideful, I believe we're open to growth. And the reason why I say that is when you are prideful, I think you think so much internally upon you and your own thoughts. So you're like, my ideas are the way it needs to be, or this is my pathway. I'm going to do it because I'm set out to do it and I'm driven to do it. It's all upon my mind. I need to do it. Where it's like when you step away from yourself, you're now open to other people's opinions and it's okay not to be right. And when you're okay with not being right, there's a massive amount of growth to happen.
So now that we kind of know about your upbringing and how you were raised, the principles that you stand on, I kind of want to switch away from that and go to another point in life. Can you go into your lowest point? If that point is now, like what are you doing to cope with it, to get over it? And if it was sometime back then, can you tell that story and then how you overcame it?
Yeah, so the lowest point of my life was probably my freshman year of college. It was crazy how it worked because Baylor and attending Baylor and playing football at Baylor was always a huge dream and aspiration of mine and something I always wanted to do. So once I got accepted, once I got offered to come and be a part of the team, it was just like one of those feelings that was just surreal. I was able to accomplish something and a goal that I had in mind. And I was like, okay, this is where I need to be. This is where I'm destined to be. God opened up this door for me. And this is just going to be how it is. I'm going to play. I'm going to do my thing and just live out what was always on my heart. And then the crazy thing is once I got there, there was just slowly like a shift. And as I stepped into it, I thought it was just going to be this just utopia feeling of this is everything I wanted. And as the year went on, it was just like totally opposite. And it kind of hit me because it was like the first time I was on my own, being a freshman, just kind of away from family. Had to handle things on my own. And it was like that big decision, that first big decision of my life. And when it didn't work out how I wanted it to, or how I thought it would be, like this just great experience, it kind of like really hit me and like, oh wow, like did I make the wrong decision? Am I in the wrong spot? And honestly, it made me think and reevaluate my life because I was like, okay, like a lot of kids were like, oh, I'm going to play football for the rest of my life. I'm going to follow this dream. This is this is what I'm going to do. And when it wasn't that, and all I had in mind was that, it was very much of like, well, crap. Like, I don't know what else to do. And then I also was dating a girl at the time, freshman in college. I was still dating someone back at home. And those things didn't work out. So I had this thing of like, I had all this ready to go in my hand and like I was fulfilling my dream, doing all these things. And then it just seemed like the door just went away from underneath me. And I was like empty handed. It was like, man, well, what am I going to do next? And then, I don't know what to do in this situation, in that situation. There's like, just seemed to be no answers. And I'm the type of person where I never want to quit. Like if I set out to do something, I'm going to do it for at least a given period of time that I committed to whatever I'm doing. So I knew that, and it was one of those things like as soon as I got to Baylor, first couple of months, I was like, man, this is not what I want to do. Yeah. This is not my dream and aspiration. And I knew I could not just walk away from it. I could not quit. I knew I had to last. that year and that season. So it really brought me to a low point. And there was a lot of dark times of just like really just being in the Word, not a lot of sleep, just because I was kind of like really, really stressed about what's next. And I'm very much of a planner, and I like the things to just be kind of laid out, and I like to know a direction of where I'm going. And at that point, I did not know anything.
Yeah.
What I thought I knew was gone. So God just really did a work in me, and this is when it came back to family, that I can lean on. I just feel like I can lean on anyone. My parents gave me great advice. They were always there to support me. Brothers and sisters were there. And then also I was able really during that time to lean into my uncle. He used to be a pastor, so I just kind of talked to him, asked him advice on what to do, and kind of consulted with him, and he gave me just great words of wisdom to keep on persevering and push on. And then my dad also gave me some more advice as well, as far as reaching out to one of the people he knew who was a former pastor as well. So during that time when I was going through that point where I was like, it just seemed like honest like darkness, and like the devil was really trying to just have his hold on me and just rip away whatever destiny God had on my life, and just really try to. I think he saw a chink in my armor during that season, and he was like, okay, if there's a time to attack, it's now. He's weak, nothing's there for him, and he's wayward. And there was times when he pushed and he got through, but when he pushed me to the knees, he brought me back to God. And that was one big thing that I leaned in on, is like the devil can try to do whatever he wants to disrupt my life, but the more that he cripples me, the more that I am crippled. And when I'm crippled, it pushed me, and I learned to fall more on God and not my own circumstances, own feelings, whatever it was, because whatever I counted on in the earthly realm, or whatever you want to say, and here on earth, I couldn't, because it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
So God just really intervened and just took over, and that's where I was just started to think and reevaluate my life and what I wanted to do, and really making a big decision, because I knew my parents, they knew that if I really wanted to, I could push forward and be successful at Baylor, and they really encouraged me to stay. And in some ways, that was hard for me, because again, it was the first time I had to make a decision of like, do I stay for my parents? And then also my brother at the time, he was playing football at Tech, so it was like he played, now I need to play and just follow suit. And that was also another decision. It's like, okay, do I do what is done prior? Do I follow in line? Or do I almost take a stance of, okay, you're a man now, I'm calling you to be a man, go where I feel like you need to be called to, and that's God speaking to me. And that was a lot. That was for some people that's an easy decision, but for me it was very tough, because again, like, it was like, okay, I really got to say no. I felt like I had to say no to a lot of people and what they wanted for me, and really say yes to what I felt like God was calling me to.
Yeah.
So
not to interrupt you, but so you were almost going through not an identity crisis, but more of an identity shift.
yeah,
You walk into Baylor
for sure.
expecting a certain way, and things are not the way they are. And it's like the things that I usually enjoy are not enjoyable. Things that I usually have, I don't have anymore. The only thing everything that's around me is changing.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm still very much myself, but now I'm not attached to the world like I once was.
Yeah.
So kind of going there, just like on the identity piece of it, like how was your day to day during that time when you felt like, just not kind of in tune with who you wanted to be? Like, how was the day-to-day life like that? Like, your perspectives, like being negative, positive, whatever. Like, can you just kind of go into that?
Yeah, like that point in time, I truly feel like I found myself and found a lot more confidence. Prior, I was not confident in myself at all. And I found more confidence there in that season of life. And what helped me the most is, and this speaks to, I think, a lot of mental illness that we're facing today, is when we're in that dark season of life. It's so easy, and I can speak from this from experience from going through that time. It's so easy to get trapped into this isolation mode of I'm going to figure it out, especially as a man. Going back to that pride piece, is like in that time, I wanted to be the person that got my way out. I wanted to find it on my own. I also tried to downplay it as, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I'm good. Everyone goes through this, whatever the case might be. And it was very much the spotlight in this whole production, I felt like, was on me. And the moment when other people around me pointed me and I felt God nudging me to mentorship and being mentored and being open to that, that's when everything changed. And it wasn't an instant shift. So don't always expect it just to be a total turnaround. It was a process. And it was difficult a lot of times. But those words and then having fellowship with other people was the reason why I am where I am today, and was the reason why I was able to take a dark moment and just turn it into light. And I shouldn't say, and I don't want it to be taken as I, because it was all God. God was able to take this situation, and a lot of times if you're just humble enough just to allow God to move and just come and just be like, God, have your way, he's waiting for us to do that. And he's like, I can bring the light anywhere. And I don't know if you remember, but you were a huge part in all of that. Our freshman year, just reaching out to you, us talking, having our conversations, bouncing off each other, what we were going through. The words that God gave you just rang in me and just really impacted my life to help me continue forward. So again, just having that fellowship around me was a huge blessing.
All right, so you guys kind of know how this kind of goes right now. Jared is also one of the guys that were part of the original videos. So right now we're about to go into his videos from 2020, kind of see the spot that he was in during that time and how he grew. So let's see it.
One weakness that I found about myself is just discipline. It got very easy to just lose track and focus on so much other things, like what's going on around me, what's happening, and just all exterior things, that I lost the internal drive to keep myself disciplined in a lot of areas. One of those being just physical shape, kind of just making different excuses. Well, the gym's not open, I can't go. Or, reading as much, just being distracted by the worldly things rather than just having that internal discipline to keep going. So that one was really just isolated for me, that I noticed throughout 2020 with all the exterior distractions. It really led to internal distraction with my discipline.
All right, I just want to first start out and just say that I loved how you were just standing up like during that video. It just like super. I feel like you were kind of hyped about the video because you were just like, okay, because you were just standing still. Like, the way I pictured you is just like, all right, stood up and just start taking video. But anyways, going to the video. First of all, is it weird watching yourself like a year and a half ago? Like,
It is. I think it's very unique what you have going.
Yeah.
It's cool to see just a flashback, and just to get a picture and a window into how I was thinking during that time. So it was cool.
Yeah. So you talked about a couple things. One of the things specifically you kind of brought up, not to get distracted in worldly things.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
I think the biggest thing that I guess we as humans, because I talk to and hear a lot of people talking about their situation. I think the first one that comes to mind and the easiest one to address is, physical shape. And I hear a lot of people like, oh, it's a New Year's resolution. I'm going to shift. And that's like the top one is like, I'm going to start working out and I'm going to start, losing weight. I'm going to change the way I eat. Mm-hmm. And I see that you're yawning, so I'll change my topic, because I guess I'm not hitting what you want to hit.
No,
so
bro,
it's
no,
all right.
It's good, bro.
Good,
I just saw.
Right,
I just thought of that snowman yawning right there, made me yawn.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Nonetheless, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I'm talking to this audience now because they actually seem like they're more, into it. So yeah. So back to physical shape. We all need to address that area. I feel like in some ways in our life, everyone wants to be better, get better, and a lot of times the thing that's holding us back is our exterior circumstances. So like, I don't have enough time. It's just maybe, honestly, it's something as simple as like the place where you live. You were talking about when you walked in today, if I lived in this area, there's so many food restaurants around me, it'd be hard for me to stay as disciplined.
Yeah.
So it's just something as maybe as simple as where you live, the location, maybe the current place that you are in your life. I know that when I used to work in the business world, there was one company I was at, and it was as simple as you would go into, the lunch area, and the fridge would just be stocked with sodas. Like, that was just like, that's what they did.
Yeah.
They had just sodas packed to the top. They had just snacks whenever you wanted them. And maybe it's your job and you just can't get away from it. And it's just so convenient just for you to walk and be like, okay, I'm thirsty. Let me get a soda.
Yeah.
And then you lose track because it's crazy. Like, we had stocked the refrigerator at the beginning of the day, and it was full. By the end of the day, all of them were gone. Right. And that thing was packed. Yeah. So like people were losing track. Like they would drink 4 or 5 sodas a day. They go through all this this snack junk food.
Yeah.
But again, I don't fault them because they're working. When you're working, you're just like, I needed to do this, get back to work. Mm-hmm. I need a quick bite to eat. Let me get back to work. So a lot of it was just very convenient, and it's hard. And again, this is something I'm still working through. I'm not a master by any means in this category, but those are the exterior circumstances that we deal with. And if we can learn just to have a little bit of discipline as far as like, okay, today my goal is I won't drink soda. Mm-hmm. All right, check. Do that maybe for a week. Show that a lot of times it's proving to yourself that you can achieve that goal.
Yeah.
So master one thing. I think a lot of times where we lose traction in trying to make these shifts is we try to take on, and we're thinking of the imagery of a mountain. I'm going to try to take on Everest when I can't even take on a hill. Mm. So first conquer a hill, show that you have the capabilities to do that. Now let's raise it. Because once you climb to a certain point, you've proven to yourself, I can do this. I can look behind me and like, I conquered that. Okay, now let me go after this.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is just that internal discipline, something I'm still working with. And again, just preaching to the choir here. So just keep on striving, keep on doing those things, and just prove to yourself you can. And I think you will be very shocked and surprised about how far you can go and what you're able to accomplish when doing that.
And I think also, because you're talking about the intrinsic motivation, the intrinsic discipline, I think one of the most important things about that is the small victories. Mm-hmm. Like when we are like you're saying, like when you gave that analogy with the 2 mountains, it's like Mount Everest, Okay, well that's the world standards, like that's
Yeah,
everybody else's standards. So like that's why I feel like to climb that's what everyone's looking at.
correct.
But I'm just trying to get this win at all. So I'm gonna climb this hill right here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, dang, I did that. It's not even a small victory, it's just a victory.
Correct.
But like when we're doing these things and like we're not seeing that big result, it's like, okay, well, big result according to who?
Mm.
And if we can kind of have that mindset shift. Cool. Now that we've kind of gone into one of the weaknesses you face, we're going to go into Jared's next video and see what he has to say.
Thing that 2020 really brought about was just a feeling of a lack of community. And it really pushed me to find other ways and other things to do to kind of fill that void in a sense. And that's just, I'm fortunate enough to be close to a lot of family, live with a close amount of family. So just trying to do my best to talk with them, speak to them, take advantage of that time, really hang out, really open up so not everything's bottled within just my own mind. Just reaching out to old friends, old people, asking how they're doing, keeping in touch, because I just feel like any sense of just, again, community that you can have, whether it's just even a reach out saying, hey, how you doing? It can help out. It can plant a seed, and because most likely during all the quarantine and everything that's happening, other people are feeling just the same way as you are.
Cool, man. So now we're kind of starting to wrap this thing up. The last couple sections here. They're watching your videos. This is kind of your time. If you could speak any light to any man kind of going through anxiety, depression, having suicidal thoughts, panic attacks, what would you say to them?
I would say first and foremost, reach out. Have maybe start off with somebody, one person. If that's all you have, that's fine. Like, it doesn't take an army to save a life. All it takes sometimes is a simple voice, a simple word. And that can come from anybody. Honestly, that maybe can come from somebody you've never even met or and you just run into them and they tell you something and it will impact them for the rest of your life. So reach out and also be open to others and be receptive, because like I said, you never know where that powerful word or powerful thing can come from. And just community, surround yourself by people that you want to be like. And honestly, I feel like there's a presence upon people that are filled with joy, that have a firm foundation upon them and underneath them. So a lot of times people are trapped into thinking, let me go be around people that I think I'm alike, or, someone that I would mesh well with. Well, if you want to be like those people, that's fine. But if you're wanting to be different and you want to have a shift in your life, well, that might call for a shift in who you're surrounding yourself by. The famous phrase, "Show me your friends, I'll show you your future." Right? So if you want to be in a better place, if you want a shift in your life, surround yourself by people that are encouragers, people that will genuinely help you, and lift you up, because those are the times, and when you're going through those seasons of your life, that's what's going to help out more than anything. You just need the words to tell you, you can do this. You can make it through. It's not bigger or not more than you can handle. Because when you're by yourself, I promise it feels like it is. You just can't face it. But when you come together and link arms with others, those people will help carry you and lift you up. And in turn, what that is going to lead you to is you have a platform that will be able to affect more people than you will ever know. Because you now have faced and then overcome something that is so difficult. And you're able to speak to an audience and speak from a place of understanding and walk them through that. So you think you will feel good when you're able to get out of that season, but I promise you how much better you'll feel when you help others get out of their season.
All right, so now we're gonna go into the mental check piece of it. You guys know mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Starting out with, mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, where are you right now, mentally, scale of 1 to 10, and kind of explain why you get that answer.
I would say 7, and the reason for that is the current season I'm in is not exactly where I want to be long term. So that weight is a little bit just like a little pressure upon me. And I think the biggest thing that's helped me is not only what I currently went through, but also to the reason why it is a 7 is solely based upon God and what I've been able to push through and get through um, because of Him. He's really kind of opened Himself up to me, and mentally, I'm able to have the strength through Him to be okay with where my feet are. And again, just how I'm wired, I'm very much, I like to know what's next. I like to know where I'm headed, where I'm going. And right now, it's just like, I don't really know what's next. And I think prior, and you take God out of it, I would be at a 1. But solely because of God and just the faith and just trusting in Him and knowing that I've gone through something very similar in my past and I was able to get through it through community and God and just everything around me. I have so much more confidence in that, and I always can be better, and I always think I could be better mentally. Which those 3 points I could grow, and I think um, from that is just like constant growth, getting more plugged into community. I think talking more about it, things like this, just addressing and talking to others, opening up about it. Um, Others have wisdom, others have power. So yeah,
So mentally at a 7. Next one is emotionally. Where you at, 1 through 10?
I would honestly say a 9, and that's due to the fact that just honestly throughout this just current year I've grown a lot. And I'm sorry, I'm thinking as a teacher, a current school year, so like from August to now, so not just within a month. So this past school year, I think it's really pushed me a lot given just the current situation and circumstance I'm in. I'm able to get to that point to understand and realize um, that different people, when they address me or you know as being a teacher, sometimes students just have bad days and you're like, okay, what did I do wrong? And you think I did something wrong to that student to make him maybe lash out upon me, or maybe a coworker. um, they come and talk to me a certain way, or I do something and they react a certain way. It a lot of times prior just like made me think, okay, how can I do something different? What did I do wrong? When really my eyes were opened up to understanding that everybody's facing something. And the biggest thing that I've come to realize is the hardest people to love are the ones that need it the most. And understanding that, and when I think about that, it helps drive me to love others more. And those that are the ones where it's like, man, I really don't want to see this person today,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't want to come across them because they're just always just, in a bad mood or whatever the case might be. Being more receptive to that is like, it's not necessarily you or the environment. It's maybe they're going through something and we're called to love them despite it all. So, yeah.
All right, so mentally at a 7, emotionally at a 9. Can you go into where you are spiritually?
I'd say spiritually, I am at a 9. I don't think I could ever say a 10. I think there's always room for growth in this area. But spiritually at a 9, just because I think I just recently came off a really good sermon I listened to. It was a couple of weeks ago. Ryan Leake was talking, and he was really talking about the new year, and he really pushed it and pressed the challenge upon the congregation as far as putting God first in your life. And so many times our New Year's resolutions are, I want to do this. I want to get better. I want to do whatever goal it is. Where he kind of flipped it and said, okay, there's a lot of focus on you, where the focus should be primarily upon God. And that's what I feel like is like, instead of making a goal based upon me, let me make a goal where I grow closer to God. And he was really calling us to put God first in every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
And that really hit home with me. So ever since then, I've been really trying. By no means have I been succeeding in the goals that I want to achieve in this area, as far as just reading the amount I need to read every day, or surrounding myself around God as much as I want to do every day. But really, the one that's just impacted me is the first thing when I wake up in the morning. The first things that hit the floor are my knees. And I just come to God and pray. Give him the day. Let him have his way. And I think it's been good for me mentally. And in every aspect of my life, just as a symbolical reference. And I think to me is like, okay, before I do anything, before I start planning out my day, before whatever, I'm saying, God, it is yours. Have your way. And just do whatever it is you need to do in me today. And just help me, because I can't make it on my own. And I think just the whole aspect is just being on my knees, as well as I don't have the strength to walk out the day. So here I am humbly coming before you. So just help me on this.
Yeah, no, it's a strong way to start the day, for sure. The last section is physically. How are you doing, 1 to 10?
Ooh, boy. I'm pretty critical of myself. Honestly, I'd say probably like a 3.
Okay.
You know, I could always do better. I'm kind of looking a little slim these days. Problem is, you know me my whole life. You'd be like, what's
these days?
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I got a hater. You know, I got to surround myself by some better community. But no, he's being critical because he knows, and he's pushing me, and I love that, because I do. I feel like a rare breed, as far as like I can do nothing and I lose weight. Where some people, they say they do nothing and they gain weight.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, man, you know, it'd be nice to have a little weight. So I think physically, I need to work out more. I've been trying. I've been getting together with one of my buddies. We've been getting some lifts in. So I think accountability in that area is huge, because not only it's easy when you're working out by yourself because you can say no to yourself. But it's a lot harder when you're working out with someone else, because you have to say no to them as well.
Yeah.
So that's helped me out. Just getting stronger, being more athletic, because I'm the type of person I always want to be in my prime, at my peak. You know, anytime somebody calls me to go ball, like this guy over here, I could just, you know, still do him in and just get the dub. So pretty much. He knows it's true. It's all right. Last time we played 1-on-1.
Cue the camera to my face.
He already knows I got the dub. But yeah, you know, just staying young, and also too thinking long term about when I have kids. You know, still being able, when they want to try to mouth off to the dad, put them in their place. You know, in sports. So I never want to lose that.
Your son's gonna dunk on you. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Maybe if he's on a trampoline. Okay, but yeah. So just always trying to stay young, keep my body in the best physical well-being that it can be in, and also too just on the spiritual side of it. Like, we're only given one body, so I gotta be a steward of that, and always remember that everything that we're given. It's God's to take away, so I got to do the best I can, and the things that I can do to keep it healthy, keep it prosperous, and just keep it vibrant.
Good stuff, man. Well, this has been an absolute pleasure to have you on here, and just listen to you talk about your life and some of the things I had heard of and some of the things I haven't. And I think that's super cool being able to sit down and just have these authentic type of conversations. This last section is just kind of my appreciation for you. Um, I mean, we've grown up together since we were 4 or 5 years old, and been there for each other. You've been there for me every single year from then, regardless of if we ever are always hung out within the same groups. Like, we always had that friendship. We always had that strong bond. We go months without talking to each other, and as soon as we picked back up, it was like time was never passed.
Yeah.
And so your friendship is something that I've always cherished, and I always will cherish. And I'm just truly, truly blessed by this friendship. So thank you for being on the show today. And Jared Symmank, everybody. So,
Hey, bro. If I could say a quick nugget too about this man.
nope.
Yes, sir. Okay. But yeah, dude, I echo everything you say, and your brotherhood, honestly, has just been something that I cherish so much. And every time we get together, it's like, well, crap, where did the time go?
Mm-hmm.
You know, can we have more time? Even now, it's just like, man, we're pressed for time, and it seems like we never have enough. So that's something I think is so unique and something that I cherish, and I thank you for all that you've instilled in me, and I know that you instill into others because I see it all the time. And I just praise you, and if I could say a quick prayer over this, because I just think this is going to touch so many lives, and what you're doing is something that is so needed in this time period.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Oh, I appreciate you guys tuning in. This is officially the end of episode 6 of Mental Check. Thank you guys so much, and thank you, Jared, for being on the show today.
Honor was all mine. Honor was all mine.
All right, we'll catch y'all later.